In the last lesson, we learned how to find the GCF of two numbers using the listing method. In this video, we'll see another approach to find the GCF of two numbers. Let's use the same examples from the previous video and start with finding the GCF of 8 and 16. Before we start, let's recap first what the GCF is and how we found it in our last video. Finding the GCF is simple. Just ask the question, which numbers divide into 8 and 16 evenly without a remainder left over. Then choose the greatest one of those numbers that divide evenly into both 8 and 16. So the greatest common factor of 8 and 16 is 8, because the 8 is the biggest number, or let's say the greatest factor, that divides evenly into the number 8 and into the number 16. Now, what we want to do in this video is to find the greatest common factor by using prime factorization. Prime factorization sounds complicated, but it's very simple. Let's start with the prime factorization of 8. We can write the 8 as 2 times 4. So 2 and 4 are factors of 8, and 2 times 2 equals 4. And we are done because 2 is prime. In other words, we can't break down the 2 any further. Now we can write the 8 as 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. What about 16? We can write the 16 as 2 times 8. The 8 is 2 times 4, and the 4 is 2 times 2. So we can write the 16 as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now we have the prime factorization of both numbers, 8 and 16. The next step is to find common prime factors between these two numbers. We find the common factors of 8 and 16 by writing the factors from each column once in the next line and multiply them together. But make sure that you only write those factors in the next line that appear twice in one column. So don't write factors that appear once in one column in the next line. The product of these factors, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8, is then the GCF of 8 and 16. How cool is that? Let's look at the next two numbers, 12 and 18. Find the GCF of 12 and 18 using prime factorization. We can write the 12 as a product of 2 and 6, and the 6 as a product of 2 and 3. So we can write the 12 as 2 times 2 times 3. And we are done because 2 and 3 are prime numbers. 18 is 2 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3. So we can write the 18 as 2 times 3 times 3. Make sure that the same factors stand in the same column. Then write the factors from each column once in the next line, which are 2 and 3, and multiply them together. Only write those factors into the next line that appear twice in one column. Don't write factors into the next line that appear once in one column. So the GCF of 12 and 18 is 6. Feel free to pause the video and find the GCF between 24 and 40 using prime factorization. 24 is the product of 2 and 12. 12 is the product of 2 and 6. And 6 is the product of 2 and 3. 40 is the product of 2 and 20. Or you can say 40 is the product of 4 and 10. It doesn't matter how you start. 20 is the product of 2 and 10. And 10 is the product of 2 and 5. And we are done, because 2, 3 and 5 are prime numbers. 24 is the product of 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And 40 is the product of 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Make sure that the same factors stand in the same column. So the GCF of 24 and 40 is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And we are done with this problem. Feel free to pause the video and find the GCF between 36 and 45. 36 can be factored into 2 and 18. 18 can be factored into 2 and 9. And 9 can be factored into 3 and 3. 45 can be factored into 3 and 15. 15 can be factored into 3 and 5. And we are done, because 2 and 3 and 5 are prime. So 36 is the product of 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, and 45 is the product of 3 times 3 times 5. Make sure that the same factors stand in the same column. The GCF of 36 and 45 is 3 times 3, which is 9. And we're done with this problem. We see that prime factorization is a great tool to find the GCF of two numbers, especially when the two numbers are large. You can also use prime factorization to find the GCF of more than 2 numbers. Let's say you have 5 numbers, from which you want to find the GCF. Then you have to do 5 factor trees for each of the 5 numbers, and do the same steps as we did here with 2 numbers. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. This video is what I did for you. If you want to do something for me, hit the bell button, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and happy learning, everyone.